Eustace lived in hell, or at least its antechamber. Or perhaps purgatory was a fairer comparison, since he was not unusually abused, and he was clothed and fed, and with both parents still living. On the rare occasions when people asked where he lived, they tended to exclaim, "Oh, Weston-Super-Mare, how lovely! Lucky boy! It must be like being on holiday every day." And he knew they were thinking seaside, sunshine, donkey rides on the beach. But Weston had estuary mud, not proper sand, and was no sunnier than anywhere else in England. His surviving granny said the rain came across the Bristol Channel directly from Wales, which made it more penetrating and with a tendency to leave coal streaks on drying laundry. And if you lived in a place where people came on holiday, it made things like going to school harder, and when you tried to do holidayish things on your doorstep, like going to the beach, you felt people stare. And if the sun did come out, it was crowded down by the water, and he had taken on his mother's horror of crowds. Only she didn't call them crowds, but trippers. Weston, his mother said, attracted something called the rougher element, and a few ugly incidents where the sons of visitors had thrown sand in his eyes or kicked over his carefully constructed sandcastles apparently confirmed this. And donkey hair made him wheeze. So although their house in Royal Crescent was close to the water, Eustace rarely went there for pleasure, preferring to ride his bicycle aimlessly around the streets or to find a shady corner of a public park. Even without the rougher element, people in unwise shorts, people exposing too much sweating flesh, people who ate and drank in the streets when it wasn't even a mealtime, Weston was full of people who were a source of unease. Many of them were very old, as a lot of them chose to come there to die, apparently, but there were also others adjusting to life outside mental hospitals, and more of whom his parents darkly muttered rehabilitation. These were often painfully thin, but otherwise could only be distinguished from the ex-psychiatric patients by the bad teeth and skin they often had, or by their way of looking for things in litter bins, or abruptly asking if he could spare any money. All three groups had a tendency to talk to people who weren't there, and to be alarmingly unpredictable. However compelling they were to watch from a safe distance, they were best avoided. Unfortunately, while the really old residents liked to bask in the sun like lizards, the people adjusting and the people in rehab seemed as drawn as Eustace was to the few shady corners of the town's parks and gardens.